Today, Mark Fields, the former CEO of Ford, also a CNBC contributor. Mark, gosh, there's so many places to go with this. I guess, and I'm going to ask you to kind of speculate and editorialize here, which is if people want an EV, but now they don't want to buy a Tesla because they just don't want to deal with the Elon Musk stuff. I've talked to many dealers who have suggested that, yeah, they're picking up some business, right? So somebody's not buying a Tesla or selling their Tesla and buying a Ford Mach-E. Some people are going back to gas or hybrid cars, which is not the way things should, I guess, be going. What do you think is going to happen with Tesla buyers and Tesla sellers?
Well, Brian, it's a great question. And I guess it's never a great strategy when you alienate a big portion of your buyers, as Musk did when he went into the government and headed up Doge. And now kind of coming out, he's alienating, let's say, the other side of the political spectrum, which makes up his customers. I mean, you know, when I was running Ford, we wanted to sell to Republicans, Democrats, independents. And, you know, I guess as a CEO going out there and mixing your personal opinions and having that impact, you know, your stock price and things of that nature, that's if you're a shareholder of Tesla, I guess you have to buy into that when you buy a share of Tesla. But if you're not looking to buy a Tesla, as you said, you know, there's a lot of EV models that have been introduced out there. The issue, though, Brian, is, you know, with this big, beautiful bill, if in fact the $7,500 EV tax credit goes away, it's just going to raise the price for all these vehicles. And that's one of the inhibitors right now for selling more EVs. And the other thing, and again, this is a world of irony here. If the automakers, the established automakers, end up selling more ICE engines than their EVs, that's going to impact their fuel economy numbers. And therefore, that's going to leave them open to fines. And guess what? They're going to have to go to folks like Tesla to buy tax credits to actually offset that.
True.
So, you know, it's an interesting situation. But, you know, you've seen Tesla sales really plummet in Europe and some other places, and it's challenged here in the U.S. And this thing is just a net negative.
But you bring up a point, Mark. A lot of people just view this as a savvy way for Elon Musk to reposition himself with the portion of the public he alienated. But he's doing so in such an extreme way, he might alienate the other portion that he had just won over.
Yeah, you're exactly right. People, you know, in this case, they have, I won't say long memories, but, you know, they have medium term memories. And it's just, you know, just overall, it's a net negative when you're alienating different portions of your potential customer base. As I said, you know, Tesla is actually uniquely positioned if these incentives go off because, you know, they vertically integrated. But, you know, the automakers, again, they're in a tough position as well because the price of their EVs are going to go up. They're not going to meet their fuel economy requirements. And therefore, they're going to have to buy, you know, credits from folks like Tesla, which is, you know, just accretive for them.
How do automakers view Tesla? It's kind of its own thing. You know, California, Texas, non-union, electric. What's the, you know, I'm sure there were people that thought Tesla was going to fail 15 years ago. They probably said, don't worry about that guy out west. He doesn't know what he's doing. He can't do what we do. He obviously has become wildly rich and successful doing it. So, Mark, how does Detroit view Tesla?
Well, listen, they pushed the industry towards EVs. They came without a lot of preconditions. They've innovated a lot in this area. As I said, they've moved the market. So I think, you know, from an auto industry standpoint, there's a lot of respect in terms of now versus initially, as you said, it was you know, a lot of it was dismissed as almost science project like. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of respect on the innovation side. But also there's a lot of resentment, if you will, and that they get to play by different rules. For example, you know, the automakers in the 50 states, they have to sell through dealers. You know, Tesla, you know, sells through their own stores. As a CEO, Elon, as a CEO, says a lot of things that if you're, you know, an established CEO of one of the established automakers, you know, you probably got the SEC breathing down your neck, and in some cases, you might be wearing an orange jumpsuit with a number on your back.
Yeah.
So, you know, he gets a lot of kitchen passes. So I'd say it's a combination of both.